You're young now, still on this journey of life, I suppose. Or maybe you've just found yourself here again, with all these worries and anxieties buzzing around your head.
The wisdom he speaks of comes from a lifetime of experience. Join us as we listen to his reflections on anxiety and finding calm.
See, the thing about worry is it's often a mistake. We forget that much. Anxiety creeps in quietly, doesn't it? Like shadows on a foggy morning. I recall when I first became a boat builder. Back then, wood was expensive and time-consuming to carve. Every knot, every potential weakness magnified with each sea mile we sailed together. Fear would grip me tight before a voyage. Is this plank strong enough? What if the caulking fails? My hands would shake.
But I learned something crucial: perspective. The anxiety only wins if you let it shrink your world entirely.
Let's take an example, perhaps not as grand as building ships, but maybe like that presentation you have looming, or the exam. Yes, that feeling of dread before something important. Exactly. Now, what was important about that presentation? Was it the size of the audience? The scrutiny from management? No, not really. What was important was simply this: you knew what you needed to say. You had prepared yourself as best you could. See, decades ago, I saw a knot in the wood as just a knot, part of its natural story. The anxiety thought it was weakness or disaster, pure invention. Similarly, your worries often inflate minor issues into existential threats. Ask yourself, what is this really about? I spent a good many years myself feeling like that. Not constantly, mind you, but often enough, especially when things got big. Like buying property for the first time, or starting that new venture down by the docks, or simply delivering an address before the council house.
Acceptance versus resistance, letting go. Here's a bit of advice that helped me more than any pill I tried for years. Tend and befriend, don't fight and flight. Unless it's a runaway cow. Too many young folk today try to fight anxiety head-on. They clamp down with forceful thoughts like, "I will not feel anxious," or they drown it out with noise or distractions. But you can't physically stop the tide, sonny. You can only build better dikes. And sometimes that's precisely what we need to do, except the wave is coming. You feel a storm brewing? That rumble inside is like the wind in your sails. It doesn't mean you must be tossed by it. Does that help? The feeling of anxiety, that tight knot in the stomach, or the restless mind, it's nature doing its thing. Instead of trying to suppress it entirely, which often makes it worse and louder, learn to acknowledge its presence. Say a quiet, "Ah, yes." Breathe through it. What is this storm? Is it real danger threatening you today? Or is it just the internal weather reflecting something else? If it's that, then tend to it. Address the practical issue if there is one, but often we're simply basking in our own worry fog.
The mind's labyrinth. Simple observations. Your mind, bless your heart for having such a powerful tool, but sometimes it plays tricks. It likes to jump ahead of the curve, doesn't it? Imagine a rabbit running wild down a warren. Let me tell you about that old saying I heard from my father when I was young. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Not exactly. Not quite. He probably meant something else entirely. But for me, it took on another meaning. See, if your mind is just a frantic point, moving from one worry to the next like a bouncing ball, where does anything real grow? So much of anxiety stems from our thoughts racing far ahead into uncertain futures. We're not there yet. Not facing that mortgage problem or the big presentation today. Your mind creates this elaborate inner theater. Drama queens. Why not learn to be more like a moss patch? Gotta stay put, right?
Mindfulness. The young folks talk of mindfulness these days. What they don't always grasp is that it doesn't mean becoming emotionless, like old wood. No, it means simply being present with your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them or judging harshly. Try this. When the worry starts buzzing in your head, instead of shouting, "Shut up," which just makes you angry at yourself, just notice it. Like seeing a bee hovering nearby. Observe its activity without letting it sting you. Give it an attention label. Ah, anxiety about the project is here. Then, gently turn your focus elsewhere to what's happening right now, the taste of coffee, the feel of the wind in this old man's hair, or even just acknowledging that you're feeling anxious without demanding it cease instantly. That sounds incredibly simple yet profound. It's about changing your relationship with the anxiety itself. Precisely. We don't have to solve everything at once or pretend it doesn't exist, especially not as we get older and learn that life is inherently uncertain. A fine soup sometimes, other times watery.
The power of priorities, reconnecting with values. Now, this last part, it's the hardest often, because anxiety tries to be everyone's boss. It whispers, "This task is more important than your health," or "You'll fail if you don't do X." But truth? You know where that stuff comes from, those little worries about what others think, or worrying endlessly about perfection when we're only human. Let's go back to my boat-building days again. A bit more clearly this time, I saw young apprentices getting frantic over tiny imperfections on a hull they'd carved all day. Their anxiety was screaming that it wasn't good enough, beautiful enough for the voyage. But I knew what mattered. Was their connection with the wood sound? Was there skill in their hand? Could my wife row safely upon it when we needed to? Those little worries about making it perfect? They often just got in the way of practical progress. So, the anxiety was trying to elevate a mundane task above our core values or abilities. Exactly. So much of anxiety is manufactured when we compare ourselves to impossible standards, or let other people's opinions dictate our internal state. Stop comparing yourself. It's not productive and feeds the machine. Focus on what you can do today that matters right now. Put one foot in front of the other, or one plank upon another. Accept your limitations for what they are, but know your strengths too.
The call to action. Small steps. So there you have it, from a very old hill. Not magic tricks, mind you, just tried thoughts tested over time. It boils down to knowing what truly matters beneath the noise and learning not to fight every little buzz in your head. Today's takeaway? Don't try to defeat anxiety. Learn to understand it through a lens of acceptance and perspective. Observe its whispers instead of shouting at them. Focus on what you can do right now aligned with your values. Maybe start small. When you feel anxious about something trivial, pause for 30 seconds. Label the feeling. Anxiety. Ask yourself, is this helping me focus or stressing myself out unnecessarily? Find your own way up on that hill of worry, but don't forget to look around. We'll see you next time, perhaps with a bit more calm. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We explore these themes further every week.
Watch more videos on mindfulness and navigating inner challenges.